had some pretty tough things, I would imagine, to go through in the trial. During the trial, there were photographs of you displayed. I noticed you tended to look away. What were you thinking when those photographs were being flashed up in front of everybody?
I wanted to crawl under the table and just disappear.
If you had to look at some of the tougher parts of what you've been through for the last 4 months, what would they be?
Just coming to fully understand what I've put people through. My family and everyone else as well. That's the part I'll always regret.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
Well, just the way everything happened. I think that if I had just been honest from the beginning, I'd be in a different place. And so would everyone else. And because of what I've done, a lot of people will hurt for a long time.
It's got to be a tough time for you, obviously, just learning what happened. But you're telling me that if you would have done things differently, do you regret how you went about doing things after Travis was killed, after you killed Travis?
Yeah, I think that I was just freaked out. Well, I know I was freaked out. I didn't know what to do. I knew that I couldn't just carry on as normal, but I tried to do that. I tried to act that part until, until everything came down on me. I just couldn't imagine going to my family and saying, hey, look what happened, or going to the police and saying, here, arrest me. I was just horrified with what had happened, and it was difficult to face that I had been pushed to that point and that I could be capable of something like that.
And let's talk a little bit about what happened after you were at Travis's that night and that day. A lot of people who have talked to me about it have said, how could she have gone up and been with another man, basically 24 hours after this? How were you able to put that behind you and basically go on a date?
I don't think I so much put it behind me as I just sort of checked out. I hardly remember that day. I don't remember it being nearly as intimate as he described. I remember falling asleep and taking a nap, and he was laying next to me. I remember feeling, it's strange, but I remember feeling safe. He wasn't going to snap. He wasn't going to, take advantage of me and try to do things I wasn't comfortable with. I just felt safe with that person, but I knew that, it's not like I went up there because I was hoping to pursue a relationship. I went up there because I thought, oh crap, I need to keep my schedule. So I went up there almost because I felt a sense of obligation inside in order to keep up the pretense, not because I was going off to have fun.
But it's odd, even to me, and I don't know you at all, but I feel like I know a little bit about you. But you really look at your hands and you realize what's happened.
Yeah.
And at that point, you say to yourself, I've got to go up and meet this person. I'm going to keep that appointment. I'm going to keep that date. I don't understand how that goes through your mind.
Well, what happened was I slowly began to come to while I was in the desert. And when I found my charger and I turned my phone on, there were tons of voicemails. One from Leslie, I think a few from Leslie, maybe one from Ryan. And I realized these people are wondering where I am. And I just felt like I needed to buy myself some time and figure out what had happened. I was very shocked. I didn't know what I was doing. Well, the worst outcome for me would be natural life. I would much rather die sooner than later. Longevity runs in my family, and I don't want to spend the rest of my natural life in one place. I'm pretty healthy. I don't smoke, and I would probably live a long time. So that's not something I'm looking forward to. I said years ago that I'd rather get death than life, and that's still is true today. I believe death is the ultimate freedom, so I'd rather just have my freedom as soon as I can get it.
So you're saying you actually prefer getting the death penalty to being in prison for life?
Yes.
You still think about Travis?
Yes.
In what way?
There's a lot of regret because I was really hoping to get a plea and avoid talking about all of the things that came out about him. If we had been able to avoid trial, we could have avoided just the murkier aspects of his life that he kept hidden. And these aren't just things that came from my mouth. They're his own words, his own emails, his own text messages, the activities that he was up to, photographs that show that as well. None of that ever would have come to light. It would have just been forgotten, and he would be memorialized as not perfect by any means, but somebody who was known to adhere to his morals and the principles that he espoused. But now the curtain has been drawn, and you can see the hypocrisy and everything that was there, and I regret that because I know that even though he was living the life of a hypocrite, that's not how he wanted to be perceived, and I think inside he really didn't want to live that kind of life.
A lot of people accusing you of tearing down a dead man's reputation.
I would have been very happy to remain silent and go quietly into the night off to prison. My defense team decided to rip the lid off because we were forced to trial. The state didn't want to settle. So it's not that I wanted to plow ahead and do this, but I took the stand because strategically they advised me to, and when I was on the stand, I had to answer the questions that were posed to me.
Pretty a quote or a soundbite from your trial that's played over and over again, and you even smiled at it in court. It was Kurt Nurmi saying 9 days out of 10, even he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
What did you think when he said that?
I actually thought of Elizabeth Johnson's trial because I was reading the coverage in the paper, and her attorney told the jury that it's important. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but he told them that it's not about whether or not you like her. It's about the facts of the case. So I think it was, I believe it's standard somewhat that jurors need to remember it's not about whether or not you like the defendant.
Does Kirk like you?
I think 9 days out of 10. I mean,
9 days out of 10.
One day out of 9. 1 day out of 10. Yeah, I think so.
Why don't you get along?
Well, we got along very well for a long time, and then we just have had clashes in ideas, and ultimately he's the boss.
Anything you want to say to Juan Martinez?
No.
You seem to be writing quite a bit during testimony. Or were you drawing? What were you doing?
I was writing just thoughts. When I heard something with testimony, I would write notes, pass it to Jennifer, pass it to Kirk, things like that, just to keep them informed.
So you weren't drawing?
There might be occasional little scribbles in the margins, but no drawing.
At that point. Anything else you want to talk about?
Not that I can think of. Well, actually, there is one more thing.
Yes.
I wanted to say, if I could tell somebody in a situation that I was in anything, I just would encourage them to document it. I think that it doesn't mean they have to turn the person in or betray them, but should a situation ever arise, I think documentation would have been very helpful in my case.
You've actually started, at least you tweeted out that you're selling T-shirts for a domestic violence shelter. Do you plan to continue those efforts?
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Well, I assumed that they were doing okay as is with government funding and things like that, just donations, but I've spoken with some people who have worked in those shelters, and they always need donations. And it's important to me to be able to assist them in being able to assist survivors.
So I guess I'll wrap it up by saying, you talked about domestic violence. A lot of people are going to be seeing this. Is there one thing you'd like to get out to all those people?
Do you mean people in general?
Yes.
I'm sure I'll think of something very clever to say later. But
As you walk out,
yeah.
I can understand that.
I guess what I really want to say is to other women who are in a situation that I was once in, and it's like I just said, I wish they would just document it. That's it. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to turn the person you love in. You don't have to do anything. Just document it, just in case. It's better to have it and not need it than the opposite. And again, I think that things would be very different right now if I had documented all of the things that I went through, instead of being in a state of denial.
What would you like to say to all the people who seem to really dislike you, even hate you?
Well, maybe I should be flattered that they focus on me so much. If they dislike me so much, then why am I always on their radar?